What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to another mock draft. This is how we're concluding draft week this week. I figured, you know what? Fanspo just had an update. They've put all the players in now. This is great. I'm so excited for this. I've gone and updated the board so that we've got all the new names in here. And you know what? Let's go through and do a full mock draft. I'm going to do a full mock draft for once, not just the first round. This is what I think is going to happen with no trades whatsoever, just what I think each team is going to use their pick on. But hey, before we go and do that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Again, this is the conclusion of draft week. It's been a lot of fun, but there's a live stream coming for you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. That's U.S. Central Time. Just come there, ask me some questions. I'm going to be giving as much info and insight as I can during that time. It should be fun. We'll also be looking over like some big boards and other mock drafts and other things and just talking about it. So I figured that's kind of a good conclusion to things. But with all that being said, let's get into the mock draft. Alrighty, so like I said, Fanspo put out a little update. I don't know why it took them so long. Look, I can't imagine like they're making a ton of money off this website, so they don't have all the time in the world, but they just didn't have a lot of the prospects on here for a long time, and that's part of the reason I didn't do second rounds in my mock drafts for a while. It was also partially because I just needed to kind of see people in actual workouts and stuff before I kind of had an idea of where to value and place these guys. So now that that's done, we're going to go on and do a full-on mock draft for this. Let's not take too long with these first couple picks. Let's keep it simple, right? If you were to read this article, it wouldn't actually, you wouldn't actually read into it too much. Cooper Flagg's going first. If no trades happen with the Spurs, Dylan Harper probably going second. If you guys have, if you guys are new to my channel, you guys can go back and watch some of my other evaluations of these guys. I've got videos for literally every single one of these prospects for you to go watch in some capacity, right? So if you want in-depth information on them, you can go see that. For the rest of these picks, I'll try to give a little bit more detail. So the third overall pick, okay, now we can start having a discussion because at the time of recording this, which is a Wednesday, there's a lot of media going around about Ace Bailey and everything, and I think this is time for Uncle AVC to give people a little bit of an internet literacy I guess lesson. So all the stuff coming out about, oh, he's only willing to work out for like the Sixers and all this other stuff, and people are like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Y'all, this happens every single year. It happens every single year. I have a saying that I think is just a good life saying. You need to live your life like a historian because history repeats itself and we need to learn from it. Every single year, articles like this are posted because it's true. These guys don't go work out for a ton of teams anymore, and that's just kind of how it is. 10 years ago, people used to work out for a lot of different teams, like 6, 7, 8, and sometimes they still do, especially if it's like a more clustered up draft like it was last year. But even like last year, Sarr only wanted to work out for one team. The year before that, Scoot Henderson only worked out for 2 teams, and 11 teams were pissed off at him because he wouldn't come work out with them. I remember because I was part of the process and trying to get a workout with him at that time. But that's just how it is. Why would these guys go to a bunch of workouts when they know kind of the range that they're going to fall in anyway? And I just want to make it clear that if a drop does happen here for Ace Bailey, which maybe it does, it's not going to be because he didn't show up for a draft workout. Teams draft guys that they don't work out literally every single year, and there's a ton of them where that happens. Usually the second round is like if you don't work out for them, that's a pretty good sign that you're not going to get picked by them. But even still, it happens sometimes because like we've got a good idea of these guys at this point, and we've talked to 1,000 different people for character references of these people. It's still just nice to meet them in person. It really is, and I think it matters. Usually it has to be some pretty tough circumstances to get knocked down, kind of like a Cam Whitmore situation. That's his circumstances are why you get knocked down when you do the in-person interviews. Actually, it probably would have been to his benefit if he didn't do more workouts, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna be shocked if Ace Bailey isn't picked here at number 3. At least I'd be surprised. Just because you think about who's talking about all these rumors, yada, 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 it's teams that are hoping that he falls to them, right? Like, because the Sixers wouldn't put that out or anything. I think Ace is going to go 3. I think it's a really good fit for them. You'd get a good chance to develop. They'd be building up a really nice young core here. Unless somebody absolutely blows them away with a trade, I don't see how they don't take Ace Bailey with that pick. The fourth overall pick in this one for the Charlotte Hornets, this feels like a pretty easy one. They just take the best of the top four, or the last of the top four, and I think VJ Edgecombe is a pretty logical fit for them here, playing off of LaMelo Ball, playing off of Brandon Miller. Well, I guess Brandon Miller doesn't have the ball too much, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he's a good logical fit between them. You get a really fun group of guys. I like the energy that Edgecombe brings. By the way, again, if you want like extra detail on all of these guys, again, go watch my my official big board here. It's one that I actually turned into the team that I'm working for. Well, it's not like the actual form, but it's the actual ranking and a bit of detail on those guys. But yeah, I think VJ goes number 4. I think that one's pretty basic. Now the Jazz, with the 5th pick, I think this is where things get interesting. I can tell you for a fact the Jazz are actively trying to get out of this spot, but of course, right? We all know that they didn't want to be there. I'm not breaking any major news by saying that, and that's why I feel comfortable saying that. It's just kind of common sense. But presuming they stay where they're at, I think they take a look at all of this and they go, hey, let's still try and swing for upside. We could use a wing on this team. Trey Johnson kind of fits that mold. The scoring punch of him is really cool. I think they can throw him out there day one and just kind of let him go get some buckets, right? It's not like they didn't already do that last year with some of their guys like Collier and George and such. At least like Markkanen will be on the team right away. We'll see if guys like Sexton and John Collins are on the team by the end of the offseason, but I think Trey Johnson makes too much sense for them at 5. Number 6 for Washington. I think Washington's in a spot where they're just going to go with who they perceive has like the most upside and kind of like best available for positions. And again, this isn't exactly what I would do, but I'm just going off of what I think is going to happen. And I'm lucky enough to have quite a bit of intel on this team, as you guys have heard me kind of allude to before. I've heard about how all of their kind of workouts have gone, just because I've got my sources, we'll say. And you know what, I feel like I tease so much on this channel about the Wizards and like my sources and stuff. So let me just say, like, I know 2 of the players on the team very, very well. I grew up with them, and I just know them very well, and I know a couple of the people on the staff fairly well just from my time in basketball. So I get to hear a lot of the things on there. I can't always, like, I don't get to see their board, right? Because there's more going on there, and I'm not saying I do or don't work within this team. I'm not going to give you that information, but I know the people pretty well, right? So I think they're going to go fierce here. I don't think they feel comfortable enough with any of the prospects at the guard position right now to pass up on the upside of Fears, which, like, look, yeah, he's really interesting, right? His on-ball, like, break you down skills are really, really cool. His off-ball stuff is a little bit scary. Yeah, the jumper's kind of whatever. Personally, when I watched him like work out, I thought the jumper was just like fine, so I'm not tripping about it whatsoever. I think it'll be fine. You just got to give him some time to develop, put a little bit of muscle on. I'd like to see a little bit more athleticism out of him. Maybe he just hasn't grown into his body completely yet, which is totally possible. But I see a lot of like kind of Spencer Dinwiddie with a little bit more like creativeness to his game. So I think that could be the pick they go with here. The Pelicans at 7. Okay, where might they go here? Because this is where I start to not be so sure. I could see, as I've talked about it, like the Pelicans have already made one trade in this draft by getting the Pacers pick or whatever and giving them their pick back, and we'll talk about that later. But they could do a couple things here. I would have to imagine the Raptors are still trying to move up in this one. I could see them maybe going Maluach here, but I don't feel like that's like an immediate solution for them. I could see Yakachonis going here. I wouldn't be surprised if he falls a little bit further, though. So with all of that being said, I think they still go, I think they'd go Maluach at this point, presuming that like a trade doesn't happen. I think they'll just, again, kind of swing for the upside of this, get another center on the roster where they're pretty desperate for center help right now. Like, yeah, Yves Missy was cool this first year. Like, he had a really nice rookie season, all said and done, but I'm not sure he has like extreme potential, at least in my eyes, whereas Maluach has a little bit more of that. Like, we all know like the kind of freak athlete he is, and the size and the defensive versatility. He's super smart. He's a hard worker. I like him a lot. So I think Maluach would end up going 7 here. 8 for the Brooklyn Nets. This is an interesting one. This is one where I think they might go Yakachonis now. I could see that. I think they would swing for more upside with things. So like Asenge's another possibility, but Asenge's not going to create anything for himself right now, and they don't actually have someone to kind of help him with that right away. So I think what they would do is I think they would just take Yakachonis here and say, okay, this is starting point guard, like day one. We'll have like a Nick Claxton for you on the roster, so you can at least start to get like some NBA pick and roll stuff down in your first year while we're kind of building the rest of it out. Maybe Cam Thomas will still be on the team, so that we still have a bucket getter in the group that you can facilitate too. So I think they'd go Yakachonis here. Number 9 for Toronto. I think they'd go with a big here. I think they'd be looking between like Asa and Queen, because while I think Malawatch would be ideal for them, we're not doing trades in this video. And I might do a mock draft with some trades or something like next week, like right before the draft or something, but maybe we'll also have new intel and maybe some picks will have moved around by then. Maybe picks have moved around even by the time you guys are seeing this. I don't know. I think it's pretty clear to me, at least, that like a backup center or like a center for them to kind of groom and develop is probably the way to go. I think Queen could be an interesting one for them. They might be thinking like, okay, there's a lot of other ball handlers on the team, so he's not going to get to quite have the ball as much, but maybe the best thing for us is just to have a bunch of different guys that can kind of handle the basketball a little bit, and they can get into some different actions that way. I think that would leave you with a little bit of a defensive problem, but if you've got guys like BI and Scotty Barnes and like RJ Barrett and like even Quickly's like a bigger guard in terms of like height, maybe you feel like you can run enough of a good team defense to where it doesn't matter so much long term. So I'm gonna say Queen, and again, that's not what I'm saying should happen. I'm making this clear because I know some comments are gonna be like, ABC, how can you say that? You're fucking stupid. Go look in the mirror. You're stupid. Okay, you didn't listen to the video. It's astonishing to me that I still get comments of people that just clearly didn't watch the video. But it is what it is. Just watch the video. Just watch the video. All right. 10 for Houston. This feels like a really easy Con Knipple pick here. If they're gonna keep the 10th pick and they don't trade it for like a Kevin Durant or something like that, I feel like it makes too much sense for them just to go get another wing that can actually shoot the basketball. They really need some shooting. Con Knipple can bring some shooting, bring some toughness. He's not going to be a liability defensively. Like maybe day one, it's not going to be elite in my mind, and probably not quite NBA ready, because that's a little bit too much to ask out of a lot of rookies, but I think he'll be fine. If anything, he's going to be like a tough ass dude, and I think he would fit in with the culture that they're kind of building there. So I'd go Con Knipple there. 11 for Portland. Okay. This is where it gets interesting, right? Just looking at like who's all available. You would hope that they'd go get someone that could complement all the other young dudes on the team, right? The Scoot Hendersons, the Shaden Sharps, Denny for sure, Tamani, and Klingon. Like that's kind of the 5 in my mind, right? Like those 5, you got some interesting things going there. I know there's some Denny trade rumors now. I think it'd be silly if they moved him, but I guess it depends on what you're getting back, right? So I think we need someone that doesn't need the basketball right now, can just play off of those guys, and I think that's where like a Cedric Coward could come in more. He doesn't really need the basketball. It's probably best he doesn't have the basketball right now. I could also see a Liam McNeely shooting up a little bit, just because he has been shooting pretty well in all the workouts that I've heard about, which, yeah, no shit, dude's a good shooter. I know like the percentage wasn't actually good in college, but we've all done the basic math as scouts to be like, okay, yeah, no, when he just can't dribble and shoot. If he's just catching and shooting and doing that, he's pretty damn awesome, actually. And same with Cedric Coward, although Coward can apparently just shoot no matter what. I think just getting some guys that don't need the basketball, can kind of space the floor for some of these other like creators on the team would be good. I think they'd go more so Coward, though, just for the sake of, like, he's maybe a more interesting prospect to them. So we go there. Pick number 12 with the Bulls. This is where I think that they might try to find their big here, and I think Asa Newell would be the option here. I know that he's kind of listed as a forward and everything. Again, I'll keep saying because there's a lot of new viewers always on my video. He technically played center at Georgia. I know he, like, was playing the power forward, but him and the center on the team were both playing the same position. They play a mirror offense, meaning they literally do the exact same thing depending on like what side of the court they go to. It's kind of a stupid system, but that's just what it was. So he was playing center this last year. What is he going to be good at in the NBA right away? He can run his ass off. He can run, jump, and dunk, right? And then we're hoping maybe the three-point shot comes along. Maybe he can develop some more forward-like skills, right? And I think that fits in with what the Bulls are doing. He can play off of Josh Giddey year one and get on the court right away. I think that makes a lot of sense to them. They should be swinging for upside like they say, so there you go. 13 with the Hawks. Where do they go for this one, right? Where do they go for this one? Asenge still on the board. That's an interesting one. I think, and this isn't my big board order, by the way. I just compiled some stuff based off some of the mock draft info. That's how I made the order. But what do they need here? They could use a backup guard, that's for sure. So we could look at something like that, like a guard to play off of Trae Young. But if they keep Kobe Buffkin around, that could be that guy as well. It's just we've hardly seen Kobe Buffkin play, so I don't know how much we want to bet on it. Maybe Vit's going to get more minutes this year, so maybe they don't feel like they need to. They could probably use another big on the team behind Onyeka, but there's not an obvious one here per se. So I don't think they go with any of those. So then that kind of leaves like the forward spots, right? You could swing for a little more upside in Bryant. You could just get another spacer in McNeely. I could see that. Maybe they want to go just add kind of another Jalen Johnson type project in Noah Asenge. I wouldn't say he's like quite as put together and coordinated as Johnson, but obviously Johnson was playing basketball his whole life and Asenge hasn't. So I think with all that being said, I think maybe we'll go Asenge here. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he fell a little bit more in the draft, but I think I'm going to go with Senge here. Just take on kind of another project and see what he can become. The Spurs at 14. Who did they end up taking then? So we know they're going to have like quite a few guards on the team. Doesn't sound like they're going after Durant or anything. So you have to think maybe it is just going to be like Fox, Castle, Devin Vassell, and Harper on the team. So quite a few guards. You got obviously Wemby at center. You got like Sohan and Barnes is like more of the forward types. You have to assume if like there's not a trade happening, Keldon Johnson's still on the roster. A floor spacer in McNeely at the forward would probably be beneficial. I should have said Champagny as well. He's a big part of this team. I could also see them going big here. Maybe a Rasheer Fleming shoots up, but I kind of doubt that. Colin Murray-Boyles is an interesting one if they want another facilitator, but I feel like if you're building this team of like Castle, Fox, and stuff, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have a Murray-Boyles on there as well. So I think they go with a safe pick, a smart player, a guy that can space the floor and doesn't need the basketball, because a lot of other people on this team do right now. I think they just go Liam McNeely. 15 for the Thunder. This is where things could get kind of interesting. The Thunder like to have shooters around their other guys, so that makes me feel like Colin Murray-Boyles doesn't necessarily fit that mold, and he's never going to really get to have the basketball, so developmentally that wouldn't necessarily be good for him. So I think they probably pass on him there. They could go like long-term solution with Carter Bryant and really swing for the fences. He doesn't have to play year one. That could be kind of an interesting one. They need some length at the wing here. He'd be a really valuable trade chip to them as well. Should he or should they see a trade that they want? I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, a lot of their rotation is going to be set already, so let's let them swing for the fences with Carter Bryant. Could you imagine like if he turns out to be like a really nice NBA player and you can kind of throw him in as a forward with this other group? Absolutely insane. By the way, at the time of recording this, did the Thunder win the finals? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. The Grizzlies now have the 16th pick after that Desmond Bane trade, which, just revisiting it for those of you curious, I think the value of the trade makes a ton of sense. Like that's, you have to remember when you're looking at that trade that like Desmond Bane is a really good player and he's in the prime of his career, so you have to give up a couple picks to give him or to get him. You really didn't give up like super valuable picks outside of the one like Suns Wizards kind of swap pick. The rest of them, like, they're going to be back 20s picks. Like, you already have so many young guys on the team, so I'm not tripping about that. And they also got off of KCP, so that's going to cost you probably a pick as well, just because he was such a negative asset for you, unfortunately. And I actually do think he'll be a lot better on the Grizzlies now. Cole Anthony, obviously salary filler, but he's not like the most interesting player, so I think like the value of the swap makes sense for both teams. Like if you're a Grizzlies fan too, like Desmond Bane didn't quite fit in there. You need to extend Jaren Jackson Jr. So you had to free up some space. So I think the trade made a lot of sense for both teams. I'll keep saying though, I don't think Bane was like should have been option number 1 for the Magic to go get. Maybe that was just the opportune timing if they're going to add like a creating guard on the team. And like Bane's not a bad creator. It's just it's not what I envisioned. So hopefully something else comes of it. If another move happens where they can kind of get that scoring guard, like point guard, then okay, yeah, then we're rolling with this team now. But as far as who the Grizzlies want at 16 now it's interesting. So now I can picture like KCP with this group. They could really use some forwards. They could use some centers as well. It'd be nice if they could get someone that could play right away. Nick Clifford sounds like kind of an awesome option for them, actually. He's probably a little bit more ready to go right away. He's going to be a nice rebounder at that position. Should be a solid enough defensive player. I have a lot of nice intangibles, so I think I'm going to go Nick Clifford with that one. The Timberwolves at 17, ooh, they probably would have liked Nick Clifford there. Colin Murray-Boyle's still on the board. They would not take him when they already have Randall. I just don't necessarily see that. They could go Yegor for long-term like ball handling type things, just because Rob Dillingham, maybe he's ready to play next year, maybe he's not. Terrence Shannon Jr. obviously is going to have a much bigger role. We'll see if Nickeil Alexander-Walker is on the team next year. I could also see them going with like Nolan here, but I think the Timberwolves might be the one that take a swing now, just because, again, a lot of their rotation is going to be set next year. You have to hope that one of Dillingham or Conley can produce something at the point guard next year. If not, maybe they'll just make a trade anyway, and they're not going to find like a point guard quite ready to go day one at this point in the draft. So shoot for a little bit of long-term stuff. Go Yegor, then he doesn't have to play so much right away. The Wizards at 18, so they've already taken Fears. Who do they take next? I feel like Colin Murray-Boyles is actually like a really good fit for like what this group has right now, because like the primary creator of Jordan Poole doesn't need to have the ball that much, right? And so if we want Murray-Boyles to be successful, we do have to give him the ball a little bit right away, because that is his skill set, right? That is his skill set, is having that ball kind of in the high post, kind of letting him operate and having some offense run around him. It's nice that they have a mobile center in Alex Sarr already that they can play off of. So this feels like a perfect fit. If he was to go anywhere, this is probably one of the more ideal places, because there's just such a lack of like a structure on the court right now that they could build something around him. So I like that a lot. I think Murray-Boyles there would be good for him. The Brooklyn Nets at 19. So they've already taken Yakachonis here. Oh, I think that there's actually a pretty simple pick here. I think you just continue to swing for upside, and you go get a guy that just played with Yakachonis and Will Riley here. Again, you go add a wing to this team that desperately needs some wing help. The long-term potential of him is cool. He can put the ball on the floor just a little bit right now. The shooting kind of comes and goes. He's a good athlete at 6'8". When you hear all of those things at 6'8", you're always going to get a little bit excited about it. And again, it's more of an upside swing, which is probably good. These two kind of already know how to play off of each other. So I like that pick here of Will Riley. 20 for the Heat. They need a point guard. All right, Heat fans, who do you want? Walter Clayton Jr. or Nolan? Who do you prefer? Walter Clayton Jr., probably a little bit more ready to go right away in terms of being a scorer. There's a chance that he could slide into like some starter minutes if you really probably needed him to. I wouldn't want to do it the whole season, but I think it'd be okay. And he's used to kind of being that lead guard already. Nolan is also probably ready to lead an offense. Scoring wise, he's probably not going to be as good. I can't imagine him necessarily starting a bunch right away, but he could facilitate for some of the other guys that you have on the team. So it's kind of up to you what you want to do with that. I think they go Walter Clayton here. Feels like a good culture fit. He's a hardworking dude. Actually, like pretty solid defensively, despite his size. Like really works his ass off there. So I think Walter Clayton is the pick there. The Jazz with 21 now. So they've taken Trey Johnson. Probably swinging for upside again, right? Jace Richardson is still on the board, but they've got already a bunch of other guards they're trying to develop here. Rasheer Fleming's an interesting option, but they've got so many other guys at that position as well. Doesn't feel like a center necessarily is the right one here. It feels like a wing would be a good option. So just looking through, I'm curious if there's like an obvious fit here, and I don't see a super obvious fit right now. I don't think Drake Powell would go that high. Penda could. Penda certainly could. And that's interesting. They could also go Serif if you want, again, more of a long-term prospect. This feels like a bit of a reach for him, though. I could see Hugo going this high. He would know how to play off of people right away, which would be solid, but I don't know. I don't know where they go with this one. This one's kind of interesting. Like again, this would be a good spot to trade just because there's not an obvious fit for them here. But I guess considering who's all here, I don't know. I feel like this is a tough one. I'm really struggling to figure out who kind of fits here, and I'm sure some of you guys are screaming at your screens right now because you want me to take your favorite player to this team, but just from an outsider's perspective, I don't see like a super logical fit here. So maybe we just say, let's go for long-term potential, right? That's maybe the way that we want to go for this. And I think maybe we just shoot Penda. We bring in another kind of wing to this team. Again, the wing spot itself is a little bit weaker. We know he's going to be a hard worker. It's a good developmental culture there in Utah. So why not take a swing for Penda? 22 for Atlanta. So they've taken Noah Senge already. Now is the time where you can go get that backup center, right? Now is the time you can do so. Obviously, Trae Young likes his lob threats. So who could that be? Joan Behringer? That's a lob threat. That's for sure. Thomas Sorber? Not quite as much. Reynaud? Could, and he could space out and hit some shots as well. Maybe he could actually play some minutes for you in a rotation right away. So that's kind of the options here. You also have Danny Wolf, who he's going to want to have the ball probably a little bit more if you want to develop him properly. So I think we'll pass on that one. I think I'm going to ignore Sorber for this one. I think it's between Joan, who's probably not ready to play NBA minutes right away, or Reynaud. The Hawks, I presume, want to try to take advantage of a weaker East next year, so let's go with Reynaud here. Bring a little bit of a pick-and-pop action that Trae's never had at that spot before, and he can also be a lob threat, so I like that one. The Pelicans now have a second first-round pick, and they've taken Maluach already. So what are we doing now? This could be an interesting spot for Jace, actually. This could be an interesting spot for Jace, because they've already gotten a center. Jace Richardson, we've all talked about kind of the flaws with him. He's not really a point guard at his size. He can't really handle the ball all that great, and he doesn't really have like the quickness necessarily guard a point guard. He's more of like a smaller combo guard, and that doesn't really exist in the NBA anymore, which is always a little bit scary, but you do have some other guys that can be like lead guards or have the ball on this team, like Trey Murphy. You want him to have the ball a little bit more. Obviously, when DeJounte gets back, CJ's here. Maybe Bruce Brown's still on the team. He doesn't mind having the ball. Zion, when he's out there, he's going to have the basketball. So having a guard that doesn't need the ball and can flow off of them, probably not the worst thing. So let's go Jace Richardson here. The Thunder. Oh, the Thunder. You guys just have so many picks. You have so many damn picks. Again, you don't need someone that can play this next year. You want something a little bit more long-term. I could totally see them going Joan. I could also see them going Danny Wolf. I don't think they want a ball handler. Ben Seraph would probably fit their scheme pretty well, but I think they've got enough of those currently, at least at that spot, just when you remember that Topic is there and they're trying to grow him. I think AJ Mitchell's going to have a bigger role with the team next year as well. You could go Powell and kind of, again, get more size there, but I think you might go a little bit more long-term thinking and just add another big to this team, and that's where I think Joan could be valuable to them. Or you could go Sorber, where he's a little bit more established right now, and he's also going to need a little bit of time to grow. Not going to be necessarily the lob threat that you want next to all these slashers, but he doesn't have to be. Maybe you just want some defense and some rebounding. That's what Sorber can do. I think maybe you go Sorber here. Why the hell not? I like that. And just give him a year to kind of get a little bit not stronger per se, but more effective with his strength, because he's a super heavy kid. I do think he's got a little bit of baby weight on him still as of right now. So let's kind of shape him up a little bit and get him going. 25 with Orlando. They need a shooter. This is where I think Danny Wolf comes in. This is the ideal type of center to have next to Paolo and Franz. A guy that can step out and hit. He can handle the rock a little bit and be a little bit more of a creator, can work outside the paint. This feels like a good guy for them to go after here. I know I've mocked him there a lot, and I think it makes just so much sense. And another Michigan guy, which is always fun. 26, Brooklyn. Who are we taking here, Brooklyn? We've taken 2 long shots. Let's go with something more established. I think Rasheer Fleming has fallen enough. This would be a good guy, too, to kind of help Jokic Jonas, because this is a guy that's really used to not having the basketball and being effective as a scorer. So, again, you should always draft your teams as how do I want to say this? You should, when you take a guy as high as 8th overall in the draft, right, and Jokic Jonas, you should try to set them up for success, actually. So getting guys that can actually benefit them, I think, is a good thing. Rasheer Fleming would be a good guy to kind of play off that. He can spot up and hit the three. He can play without the basketball, cut to the rim, run in transition, all those things. I feel like they would go with something like that there if they're smart. Okay, 27th pick now for Brooklyn again. Do we just keep going with kind of the same thing? We take another swing, but at a different position. This could be a good place for Joan to get picked. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, let's go Joan here. I like that. I like that. The Celtics on the clock with 28. So you have to assume Drew's probably gone. Sam Hauser's probably gone. Porzingis is probably gone just because of trades. We'll see about Derek White. I think they'll keep Derek White around. We did the math on our channel. They can keep White, Brown, and Tatum. Who do they go with here? They could probably use another ball handler this next year. You could go with Seraph because he's played some pro ball already. You could go Traore as well. He doesn't necessarily fit the like three-point shooting mold that you want. Neither does Seraph, I suppose. You could go with Gonzalez if you want to add another wing to the team. You do have a couple of those waiting in the back half of your roster in Shireman and Walsh, though, that maybe you're leaning on a little bit heavier. The thing about Gonzalez is he knows kind of how to play like off of other good players already, which is nice, but just looking at this group, I could see Seraph going here. Again, he's already played some pro ball. He's got some shiftiness to him. This would be a good place for him to learn like some offense from a lot of really good players. I think that'd be a good pick. I think I could see them taking Seraph maybe over Nolan. Yeah, I'd say that. And just kind of the versatility of him kind of being a combo guard. And he's like actually like a true combo guard. So I like that. I like that fit for them. 29 with the Suns. This feels like a good Nolan pick. Again, they need some sort of point guards on the team that can actually run some offense. He's got people that he can facilitate to in Devin Booker. The question would be is when he doesn't have the basketball and like a guy like Devin Booker does, what does he do? And that's going to be more of a question, but I don't think he passed on the talent at 29 of Nolan here. Then the 30th pick for the Clippers. I think they need a big here. I could see them going Yannick here. I really could. I could see them going Broom here. I could see them going Kalkbrenner as well. I think they're looking for some size to add to the back half of their rotation with this pick. I don't think they need any more forwards. They definitely don't want anyone that needs the basketball right now. I could see them going Yannick here, just from like the sheer like shot blocking ability, if nothing else. So let's go with Yannick here. And alrighty, second round, right? You guys have been watching me kind of talk about my logic for each one. I don't want this video to be like super long. Overall, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the rest of these picks off camera now, and then you can go through and kind of see what I did at the end. And I guess if we want logic behind them, you can ask me in the comments. Maybe I hesitate to do that because I'm going to forget why I said everything that I said, just being honest with you. But I just know my video retention is going to drop off a ton after this. So let your boy run his business, and you can see where I have everybody go. Alrighty, your boy went and did the second round here. Like I said, I'm not going to go through and explain every single one for video retention purposes. By the way, this Knicks pick doesn't actually count as anything. I don't know why it still made me go through and do it, but, you know, there it is. So, yeah, you can go through and see each of these and who I picked here. I went and spent about 2-3 minutes on each person and just kind of thought it through. We'll see. Their needs could be a lot different in the second round. The second round is so hard to determine because you don't know what teams are thinking in terms of like free agency moves and trades that they're making, and that usually that has a really big factor on the second round, right? I don't know where every single guy has worked out in the back of my mind, so that's all important to know, but just gave some basic thoughts on it and some basic fits and stuff. So yeah, take it as you will. But anyway, that is my mock draft here. Again, we might do one more. Maybe we'll do one this weekend in the live stream again at 3 p.m. Central Time this weekend. But with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. Let's go on to the comments of the video. Alrighty, y'all, comment to the video is coming from our I analyzed every mock draft video right here. You guys seem to have liked this one. It comes from Andrew Alexander 272, a pretty frequent commenter on the channel. Said, I think every team wants a player built like Giannis, shoots the ball like Steph, ball handling like Kyrie, ball knowledge of LeBron. We got to put some spaces after these commas, my boy. Athleticism of Zion, can guard 1 through 5, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it, right? I really resonated with this comment because I still, like, most of my work is actually done in college basketball. basketball. Like, most of my clients are college basketball teams. I just have one NBA client because there's some conflict of interest. I have some international clients as well for my company, but I help out a lot with recruiting in the transfer portal, and people will come up to me and be like, hey, yeah, so here's what I need. I need a wing, probably about 6'8", should be a really high-level athlete, needs to be able to shoot a little bit, put the ball on the floor to some extent. Let's make sure he's good in the classroom, good kid, all of that. And like, yeah, if he could be like somewhat of a playmaker, that could be really cool for us as well. And I'm like, hey, dumbass, I don't have LeBron's phone number, so shut the fuck up. I've got a guy that can, I've got a 6'7" wing that is a really good defensive player, and he is athletic, and yes, he only shoots 1.5 threes per game, but he made 34% of them, and he's just a sophomore, so maybe you can develop him a little more. And they're like, ooh, that's not quite what we want. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. But, you know, it's what it is. That's just the struggles of my industry, I suppose. But anyway, hey, make sure you go join the Discord. Link is here in the description. As always, read the rules of the comment section and everything before you comment something stupid in there, and I have to hide you. But yeah, appreciate you guys as always, and make sure you guys are tuned in for the live stream tomorrow again, 3 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, that's all I have. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Thanks so much. Bye.